to be honest with you all, I have no clue why I'm doing this video this late. When I should just go to bed. But I figured uh, I'll make a video I haven't actually made before for some reason. I don't really know why. So I figured I'd give you a little video, kind of explaining the kind of gamer I am a bit. Talking about kind of the things that led up to me being the gamer I am. Talking about some stuff that kind of impacted me impacted me to a point of becoming who I am now. The video is going to be short, very, very short. Long story short, my first time playing a video game I was maybe 4 or 5. I had accidentally put in the Diablo game. Now, looking back, that's really stupid because the game that would have been wound up being the first game I ever played had a title on its disc and not a claw. But oh well, stupid me didn't know any better. So I started playing up Diablo. I did terrible because no crap, I'm a little kid who didn't even know that typically game discs have titles on them, which is an impressive level of stupid, even for me. After that, I wound up playing, and it was the first game I ever finished from beginning to the end. Was Final Fantasy IX, for better or worse. Now, when I was young, whenever we'd go to stuff like a video game rental shop or whatever have you, I remember I'd always ask the same question. Always. What do you think of these games? That's what I'd ask my dad every time. My dad would have the same response at the ready, the same way, consistently, to a point where I didn't even know why I was really asking at all. He would ask me, "Does it look fun to you?" That's it. That would be his response to my question. Didn't matter if it was, which one do you think looks better, or it doesn't matter how I phrase the question. It doesn't matter how many different ways I phrase the question. It was the same response over and over. And you know what? That was a good thing. It's because he constantly said that same answer, that same response, the same way so many times. I eventually kind of just learned to play a game regardless of what genre it was, to just try it, to play it, regardless if I was renting or just to not assume I was going to hate something before I played it. That made a huge impact on me as a gamer. It kind of is what instilled the willingness to try other genres, even if I'm either not that interested into them or if I'm trash at them. Which I'm going to be real. Anyone who's seen me play a shooter or platformer knows I'm trash. With like a capital T, italics, bold, underline. I'm that bad at those. And even then, I'll still pick them up and I'll still try them. And that's a positive thing that was instilled in me. Now, thanks to that, almost exclusively to that, might I add, I started off going from my comfort zone of JRPGs to stuff like Western RPGs to stuff along the lines of shooters, platformers, turn-based games were already where I had a little bit of the most comfort because even though I wouldn't say I'm good at them, I'd say I'm passable at those. I eventually played them more and got better at them. I went from playing stuff like Breath of Fire 3 to playing stuff like, even though I'm the worst ever, stuff like Call of Duty, strategy games like Civilizations I eventually played. I got to play all these other games and I realized that was the best thing anyone could have done for me, was instead of trying to instill in me that this is the superior genre, this is the best, there's no other games that matter, I learned instead to just try it before I assume anything. And that has literally been one of the strongest, most literally ingrained into my soul type of lesson. And as a result, there are games that I play now that if it wasn't for that lesson, I'd never play them. Ever. I think my life would be worse off for that. I never would have played Pillars of Eternity 1. That would have been depressing. Alright? I never would have played Prototype 1 or bought Prototype 2. I never have those. And that sucks. That sucks a lot. I never would have tried all these other games. I would have never, ever met the communities I'm part of if it wasn't for some of these games. Some of these games that I never would have played. I never, ever would have met SMAB if it wasn't for Code Vein. A game that, if it wasn't for me eventually trying Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2, I should specify, and Dark Souls 3, I never would have tried Code Vein then. And I never would have met SMAB. I never would have appeared on his videos. He never would have appeared on my videos. And I never would have met someone who's as much of a sick, messed up mental person than I am. Which is a depressing thought. There are groups I wouldn't be part of if it wasn't for me gaining that lesson of try games as a whole. There are YouTube channels I wouldn't be subscribed to now if it wasn't for that lesson of try it. I can't imagine my life without some of these people, and I can't imagine my life without trying these other games. I can't imagine my life without that lesson so heavily ingrained and embedded into it. That's the thing. For better or for worse, however you want to look at it, I think of it as nothing but a benefit. I think of it as the best lesson I could have ever asked for, really. I think of it as a lesson that I, in the future, far down the line, it's something I want to teach my own kids. If I have kids. If I find some poor woman who's willing to settle down with someone as perverse as I am. If that woman in the future watches this video, my condolences. I can't emphasize the condolences part hard enough. I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with probably the biggest perv in the world. And for that, I apologize. But I'm sure as hell not going to change it. Sorry. Now, I think the best way to end this video on is with one simple sentiment. I do think you should, not only should you take involvement and action and make sure that your kids are playing games without it damaging their psyche, all this other stuff, but at the same time, I also do recommend that as you're teaching them, what games to avoid at what certain ages, what games, this about games, this and that. Another thing I do recommend you teach them is primarily to play to have fun. At the end of the day, that's kind of why gaming is gaming, really. The whole thing that got gamers started on playing games was fun. Just entertainment. If you really stop and think of that, to not teach your kids to have fun as they play, you're kind of robbing them of the entire point of gaming. Now, whether that's how you go about instilling this into your kids is entirely up to you. You want to teach them by having them start off with old school games till a certain age range, or if you want to just kind of dump them into some of the games that you thought were the most fun and kind of get them started on that. At the end of the day, how you handle it's up to you. But I do advise that you make sure to take an active role in saying, have fun. Because otherwise, what's the point? If you're not having fun, why do something? Why have it as a hobby? Why spend all this money on this hobby if you're not even going to enjoy it? At the end of the day, gaming is, like I said, its core foundation is fun. Now, doing a video this late at night is like never going to happen again. Not never going to happen again. This is just kind of a quick little one-off video. I felt like I can't believe I haven't done this by now. It's kind of weird. Not sure what else to say other than, as of now, good night. And I'm going to crash, hopefully. Hopefully I crash. See you all next time. Peace.